The scream came first, sharp, startled, slicing through the clatter of polished cutlery and the soft music drifting across the ballroom. Heads turned instantly, glasses froze midway in elegant hands, and the bright midday sun filtering through the tall windows reflected off 1,000 shocked eyes. At the center of the commotion stood a young waitress, trembling, her tray clattering to the carpet, and a wealthy older woman clutching her chest as though something unspeakable had just been ripped open inside her. And in that breathless silence, the waitress' words echoed again like a blow neither of them expected. "Her necklace looks like my mom's. If you believe in hope, compassion, and second chances, then send a ripple of love across this story. Like, comment, share, and subscribe to support moments that heal." The grand hall of the Royal Orpheum Hotel shimmered with daylight, its chandeliers catching the sun and scattering it like spilled diamonds. It was a luncheon event for philanthropists, an afternoon of elegance, charity, and the kind of wealth that moved quietly and powerfully behind velvet curtains. Near the edge of the room, 20-year-old Mara fought to steady her breath. Working double shifts had become her norm, but today felt heavier, as if the morning itself had warned her that something life-changing waited along the horizon. She had slept only a few hours, her dreams repeating the same memory she never escaped, her mother's gentle hands fastening a small necklace around her neck, whispering that one day, they would both rise above every hardship. Her mother had vanished a year later, leaving behind only questions, debt, and a daughter forced to grow up overnight. The necklace had been Mara's only treasure, but even that disappeared when she pawned it to pay for her mother's hospital bills, bills she couldn't afford, bills that didn't save her anyway. Mara learned that grief didn't end, it only reshaped itself in quieter, sharper ways. Now, in this dazzling ballroom where perfumes mingled with expensive wine and laughter floated like silk ribbons through the air, Mara spotted something impossible. It was glowing softly against an older woman's black velvet gown, a necklace, delicate and unmistakably identical to her mother's. Her heart lurched. Her tray shook. Her throat tightened so fiercely she struggled to breathe. She tried to walk past, convincing herself it was coincidence. Plenty of necklaces looked alike. Plenty of wealthy women wore vintage pieces. But the closer Mara moved, the more irrefutable the truth became. Even the tiny scratch by the clasp, shaped almost like a crescent moon, was the same. The older woman was named Helena Varon, one of the city's most respected donors, admired for her poise, her fortune, and the cool confidence that came naturally to someone who believed she had seen everything life could offer. But Helena had not seen this moment coming. She had not expected a trembling waitress to rush forward, her voice cracking with a mixture of grief and disbelief that pierced the room like glass splintering under pressure. Helena stared at her, bewildered, instinctively clutching the necklace as though shielding her own pulse. Everything slowed around them. Conversations died mid-sentence. Phones lifted. Cameras clicked. And the daylight streaming through the windows seemed to narrow into a single spotlight centered on the impossible collision of two very different worlds. Mara's breath came in uneven waves as memories flooded her, her mother dancing in their kitchen, humming softly, sunlight turning her hair into gold, her mother holding her tight during thunderstorms, her mother placing that necklace in Mara's hands, saying it had been passed down through generations of women who survived everything life threw at them. Mara had asked, through tears she couldn't contain, how Helena had come to possess it. But her words tangled in her throat, only fragments escaping, "Looks like my mom's," before emotion overwhelmed her. The room watched as though witnessing a scene from a film, too raw and too real to look away from. Helena's fingers trembled around the pearls resting at her collarbone. She was a woman who had built her life around composure, yet now she felt everything inside her cracking, shifting, unraveling. She had acquired the necklace years ago from a private dealer during a period when grief blurred her judgment. She had wanted something beautiful to hold onto after losing her own child. That memory hit her now like a tidal wave, the sterile brightness of a hospital room, the sound of machines fading, the stillness that followed. It had been over a decade, yet sorrow, she realized, didn't soften with time. It simply learned to hide. Mara swayed slightly, dizzy from the intensity of the stares surrounding her. She felt exposed, foolish, desperate, just a waitress interrupting a world she didn't belong in. But beneath her embarrassment lived a raw ache she couldn't ignore. That necklace represented everything she had lost, everything she had never been able to reclaim. Her hands shook not from audacity, but from yearning. Helena's gaze softened as she truly looked at the young woman before her, not as a disruption, but as someone fractured by the world in ways she understood all too deeply. She noticed the exhaustion beneath Mara's eyes, the determination etched between her brows, the desperation hidden in the way she kept pressing one hand against her apron as if trying to keep herself from falling apart. Around them, whispers grew like ripples across a pond. Some people took videos. Others murmured theories. But the two women at the center of the storm heard none of it. Helena could sense something more than coincidence, something almost fated, as though life had orchestrated this collision to reveal a truth neither of them expected. Sunlight shifted across Mara's face, highlighting a faint scar on her cheek, perhaps from childhood, perhaps from life's harsher moments. Helena's chest tightened unexpectedly. It reminded her painfully of the small scar her daughter used to have, in almost the same place. She wondered, irrationally, impossibly, whether the universe was trying to return something she lost through someone equally lost. As the atmosphere thickened with tension, Helena invited Mara to follow her out of the center of the room. Cameras lowered reluctantly. The murmurs softened but didn't disappear. They stepped toward a quieter corner where a beam of warm midday light fell across polished marble floors. The brightness revealed the sheen of tears forming in Helena's eyes and the trembling resolve in Mara's. Helena asked, gently but with a quiver she couldn't hide, where Mara's mother had gotten the necklace. Mara explained everything, how her mother treasured it, how she sold it to cover medical bills, how guilt haunted her ever since, and how seeing it now felt like seeing her mother again after years of darkness. Helena felt something crack open inside her, something she had buried beneath wealth, parties, and carefully curated smiles. She realized that the necklace she had purchased in a desperate attempt to soothe her grief had belonged to another grieving woman, another mother fighting battles she shouldn't have fought alone. The daylight warmed the tears that finally spilled down Helena's cheeks. She unclasped the necklace with trembling fingers. She held it between them, suspended in the bright beam of sunlight, the pearls glowing softly like memories reborn. Before I close this story, I want to ask, if it has touched your heart so far, support it with your love. Like, share, and subscribe to help these stories reach more souls who need them. Helena placed the necklace gently into Mara's hands, and Mara broke. Tears slid down her face as she felt the familiar weight against her skin, the cool touch of memory returning home. She felt her mother's warmth again, as though the universe had opened a small door just for her. Mara whispered her gratitude, trembling not from fear now, but from awe. Helena wiped her tears softly, feeling a warmth she hadn't felt in years, a healing she didn't expect and hadn't known she needed. She offered to help Mara beyond the necklace too, promising opportunities, support, and guidance, not out of pity but out of recognition of the young woman's resilience. Mara didn't answer immediately. She simply held the necklace close, letting herself breathe for what felt like the first time in years. Before the final emotional moment, please leave a heartfelt comment. What part touched you the most? In the end, as sunlight continued pouring through the tall windows and life slowly resumed around them, Mara realized something powerful. Sometimes the world breaks you only to guide you toward the pieces you need to become whole again. And as Helena watched the young woman clutch the necklace like a precious heartbeat returned, she felt her own heart stitching itself back together in the quietest, most unexpected way. Two lives, shaped by loss, had collided in the daylight, and in that collision, something beautiful was reborn, hope.